Welcome! We will work our blouse taking the numbering of hooks from smallest to biggest. To start the neck I will use 2.5. We have 3 fans, then I will use number 3 to continue with the fans, and finally I will end with number 3.5. These 3 are made of aluminum. It doesn't matter if you don't have these hook numbers because you can use the hooks that you have, but remember start with the smallest to the biggest that you have, according to the thread that you are gonna work. I'm gonna use this thread from this brand, and here I'm working a size for a girl with only 4 bows. We can see that it's a small neck. I work it with the hook number 0. So for I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 laps to have 3 fans. I will need 1 lap to have 9 and to have 3 fans. Well, this is a small size. To make one of the fans, we need, for example, 1 and 2 bows. In the next bow, we have already made the following fan, 1, 2. And here begins the next fan, 1 and 2. We need 2 bows for each fan. You're gonna work it so that you have 2 fans in 2. So that it's in a pair, that's to be easier the separation of our sleeves. I'm gonna start working the blouse with this thread from the brand Hobby. It's 100% acrylic, it's a very soft thread. This is white. I'm gonna use the hook of 2.5 that it's aluminium, and I'm gonna start making a chain. We fit well and I don't count it. I make 3 chains, loop, put the hook in the first chain and make 1 and 2 pulls. Again, 1, 2 and 3 chains, loop, put the hook and do 1 and 2, take it out. We have 2 bows. I will continue like this until I have the neck measurement. I have the 72 hoop. We are gonna put them straight so that our neck doesn't look bad, and here I'm gonna close with a slip stitch. I have 72 hoop. I make a half point and I'm gonna go up with 3 chains for the first hike point. Lace it. We do 2 hike points, 2 chains and 3 hike points. We continue with a chain and join in the next hoop with a half stitch. A chain, lace it, and in the next hoop we make the fan 1, 2, 3, 2 chains and 3 hike points. one chain, half a point, one chain, and we continue with the fans until we continue the round. In total, we will have 72 hoops, we will have 36 fans, and we continue round number 3. We close with a slip stitch in the third chain. Here I pick up with 3 chains, lace it, we need 1 and 2 hike points, 3 chains. In the center of the fan we will join with the half stitch, 3 chains, and knit the 3 hike points, 1, 2, and 3, lace it, and do what same in the next fan and so on until round number 3 is finished. We close here around number 3 with a slip stitch, and with a slip stitch we go to the last hike point. Now here we are gonna make 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 chains. It joins in this hike point with a half point. 5 chains, we leave 1, 2, 3, 4 and we continue in the next fan in the hike point number 3 with a half point. 5 chains and a half point. This we are gonna do in all round number 4. We have to see very well where each of the half stitches because this is gonna be done in each round that we start a new fan. We close round number 4. We take thread and we are gonna put the hook where the round starts and we make a hike point of 1, 2 and 3 pulls. When we have to make a round of 5 chains of bows, we will always close this way and here I will leave 3 hike points, 2 chains and 3 hike points to start the new fan. 2 chains and 3 hike points, 1, 2 chains and we are gonna join here with a half stitch, 1, 2, lace it. Continue in the same space knitting 1 more fan, 2 and a half chains. This is round number 5. We are gonna work it all this round, and at the moment of closing we close here with a slip stitch, and we will go to the last hike point. Doing the same thing we did on round number 3, then we continue the round. We continue making the bows. I'm gonna continue working with this hook number, which is 2.5. I'm gonna work it until I have 3 double fans. I'm on lap number 9 and we have 1, 2 and 3 hike points. Here I worked with the hook of 2.5. I close the turn and this hook I will not use it for the moment. As we can see, our garment is straight. Even if we continue working with this same hook, our garment will fold, so we need to take flight. For that we will use hook number 3. As I said, you can use the hooks you have, using from the smallest and increasing. And we continue working these 3 fans. Now I'm gonna change to number 3, and here we have to go to the last hike point, and we start with 5 chains. We see that our chains are gonna be bigger, half a point, and I'm gonna continue with this hook. I'm gonna check that my garment is straight, and I'm gonna check until I can work it with hook number 3. Once I have a little more of my garment, I will come back with you. Before continuing to knit the fans, I come back to tell you this. I began to work our blouse with 1, 2 and 3 double fans. This with the hook number 2.5. And already at the time of working the number 4 and 5, I used the hook number 3. And from here, I'm not gonna continue using it. I am only gonna make these 2, and from here I'm gonna use hook number 3.5. That has a slightly larger tip so that our fabric is not made in words. So it will be from lap number 15. This is lap 15. I'm gonna start the 16 with the hook number 3.5. Remember, we have to go to the last point. I'm gonna continue knitting and come back again to show you how to knit. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and how far we will separate our sleeves. In round number 23 is where we are gonna separate the sleeves. You are gonna adjust your piece and we are gonna count 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10, and we put the separator. We see that where I'm gonna close this round, which is 23, this is where I put it, not to cut our thread and have to tie it. But here we are gonna close the round. We are gonna do the same in the other sleeve. 2, 4, 6, 8 and 10, and we put the separator. Until this round I have 100 grams, so Here we join with a slip stitch. We go up with 3 chains, the second high point, the third, 3 chains, half a point, 3 chains. We remove the separator but leave it in the back, so you will not lose on which part you should close. I work here the 3 high points. Now I take the yarn and go to where we put the separator and do the same. 3 high points, 3 chains, half a point, 3 chains, remove the separator and make 3 high points. The separation of the slip is very simple. We see how it is. We will continue the stitch. When we get to the outer separation, we need the 2 fans, the same, and continue the stitch. Here we close with a slip stitch and work as I explained it from the start, with a slip stitch to the last high point and continue the stitch until you have the length of our blouse. Here I'm working with this hook of 3.5. If you want your stitch to be even or straight, continue working with this hook. And if you cannot use a slightly larger hook, such as the number 3.75. Look, this hook is 3.75 and this is 3.5. We can see that it's a little bigger. If you can work your thread by increasing the hooks, you can do it. I started with 2.5, then with 3, and so far I am with the 3.5. As I told you previously, if you don't have these hook numbers, you can do it with the ones you have. You just take out a multiple of your blouse, make your neck and continue working, but for you not to turn them over, you have to increase the hook. I will continue and return when the blouse is more advanced, and if necessary change the number of the hook if you don't continue like this. From here you can continue the length of your blouse. The last round that you are going to leave can be this round with a fan, or you can leave this. I will finish it from here on what is the separation from of the second round. I changed the hook number using 3.75 on the slip. For example, I put the fans in this way: 2, 4, 6, and 8. If you have 2 fans left in this way, you will place one in each sleeve and you will place it like this, so that the fan is on the shoulder followed by little ones. Put one in one sleeve and one in the other so that the same amount is left on the front and back of fans. When I have finished the blouse, in another video I will upload them as it looks and the amount of material I use. I imagine that I will use a total of 200 grams because I'll still have enough of this thread. You see very well the beginning of the video because the size of the blouse varies if you use a thicker or thinner material. You make your bows and although the blouse is a little lowered after easy to reduce the neck. Well girls, see you soon with the finished blouse. For the last part of the short, we are gonna make a half stitch loaded, making 2 chains, lace it, and in each hike point we make a half stitch loaded. In the space of the 2 chains we make 3 half stitches, lace it. In the middle stitch in the center a half a point. 3, 1, 2, and 3. If you want where we have the half point, we can make a half point instead of a loaded half point. It will be a little better because the wave will be well marked. We will continue with the sleeves. If you prefer to leave it like that, it looks very nice. In the video you can see the photos of the blouse with short sleeves, and if you prefer long sleeves I will explain how you will advance from here, and the rest is the same stitch ending with the same short as at the bottom. The hook I am using to make the sleeve is 3.5. When you start your blouse you will use the same hook that you use to close the sleeve. This is the third skein that I am opening. Use a little for the other sleeve, so I have a little more than 200 grams. The skein is almost complete. We are gonna take our sleeve in this way and we are gonna start in this fan. We are gonna put the hook in the first hike point where we are gonna join our thread, always leaving a piece to hide it. We make a half point and we leave 3 chains. We are gonna pull to adjust a little, lace it. Here we are gonna make our fan. 3 hike point, 3 chains, half point, 3 chains, and the 3 hike point. Here we have reached the part of the sleeve separation. Here we go to do it in this way. We have to work this hike point, these chains that are joined with a half point, and these 3 hike points to be able to continue one more stitch in this part. We are gonna put our hook here. In this part I make a hike point, lace it. We are gonna put the hook between the hike point. Here we have 3 hike points. I make 3 chains and we are gonna join them in this circle that was left in the onion of the separations. Here I make 3 chains and on this hike point we will make 3 hike points. Here we open. That is all we are gonna work on. We are gonna pretend as if these hike points are part of one more fan of a double fan. Here lace it. We continue working normal with the same hook until finished. You're gonna choose the length of your sleeve. It can be 3/4 sleeve or it can be up to the wrist. If you don't want the sleeve to be very wide, you must decrease the number of hooks until you get here to the wrist, so that you have the little drawing more small. Now, here I show you the sleeve that I have already finished and I'm gonna show you here in the part where these points were worked, which is this part. On the next round you will make the bows and we see that we put a half point on this hike point, 5 chains and a half point, 5 chains, and so we continue working very simple until the length is finished and we do the half turn of the loaded point. For those who have made a larger size, since this size is medium, you already know how to add each stitch. It has 2 bows at the beginning. And if the neck is too low, we will make a turn to decrease a little, or in the list of reproduction that I'm gonna leave in the part of here above, or in the description of the video I have several ways of how to reduce the low neck with the beginning of bows.